Hi everybody, welcome to this introduction to graphical user interface design with Java, Swing, and AWT. Java Swing and AWT libraries contain loads of beautiful code that's already been designed and tested that we can use in our own Java applications. If you're already familiar with Swing and AWT, this video may not be for you. In today's tutorial, we're going to be looking at how to design a frame which has maybe a close button, for example. Inside that frame, we have a panel, and on that panel, we have a lot of components, such as text boxes, labels, buttons, etc. So let's get started. In my project area, I've already set up 3 class files. The first one is my main driver file. The second one is a file defining the frame that I will be using in my application. And the third file, it will define the panel that I'm going to put inside the frame. Just a note about these 2 classes that I'm designing. My frame class actually is going to extend something called JFrame. And JFrame is a member of the Swing library that we mentioned earlier, so we need to import that. So this class, my regFormFrame class, now has access to loads of methods and properties that I can use in my own frame design. Similarly, in my panel class, it extends something called JPanel. And I need to import it from the Swing library, and now I can design a panel and use pre-defined code which has already been designed for me to use. Brilliant. Okay, let's go back to the main driver file. All we're going to do here is construct a new frame object. So regFormFrame, just call it F, is a new regFormFrame. And that's all we're going to do in the main program. Now let's think about the design of our frame. Interestingly, it's not going to have any properties, but when we construct a frame, we're going to do a few things. We're going to add a panel, we're going to make it visible, we're going to center it in the middle of the screen. It's optional, but let's have a look and see what we can do when we construct a new regFormFrame. As I said, we're going to add a new panel. We'll look at the definition of that in a moment. To the frame, we're going to give it a title. We're going to put the frame in the middle of the monitor window. That's optional, but it's kind of useful. We're going to make sure the red close button works, that button up there. That's optional, but it's very useful. We're going to pack the panel snugly into the frame, and we're going to make the frame visible. So if you want to pause this video at the moment, this is the code that will make your frame usable and with an added panel. Okay, now let's move on to the definition of our panel. Interestingly, the panel has many properties. The panel has labels, combo boxes, radio buttons, check boxes, etc. Okay, so these are all the properties of our panel. So I've already listed them. Here they are. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I've got 7 labels, I think. I might be wrong, but I think I've got 7 labels in my application. Now it's a J label, which is a member of the Swing library, and I'm going to have to import that, import my text fields, import radio button, import combo box, import button, and import checkboxes. Okay, so we're good to go. Now let's just see how this fits into my design. I can see that I've got a name label, mobile label, a gender label, Actually, I don't think these two are necessary. These two labels come automatically with the radio buttons. I don't think I need those labels. I might be wrong, so we might change that later. I've got my date of birth label here, and I've got my proof of identity label here. So these are all the labels that I need. I've got two text fields, name text and mobile text. Those are these two text fields here. I've got two radio buttons. They're here. I've got three combo boxes. They are here. I've got one checkbox. It's here. And I've got one button, my J button. That's this button here. So these are all the properties that my registration form needs. Now that we've defined the properties of a panel, we need to make sure when we construct a panel that it looks like this. Okay? So let's look at some starter code to get things moving. The first thing we need to do is give the panel a size. And the way to do that, a nice way to do it, is to use a dimension object to help us create a size for the panel. We also need to import this from the AWT library, not the Swing library. This is an AWT library method. Also, we're going to be defining our own layout for our design. We're not going to be using a default layout manager. So this line of code is very important. If you don't use that, you can see yourself, if you comment that out and run your application, you'll see it will look quite different. Okay. Now, let's just get started. The first thing I'm going to do is, let's see if I can put things in the same window here. I'm going to start by putting this name label onto the panel. So I've already got a variable called name label. The data type is JLabel. That's fantastic. That's exactly what I need. Now what I'm going to do is assign a new JLabel to this variable. Okay, and there it is. I need to give it a location. So this thing, my name label, needs to call the setBounds method, which is part of the Java Swing library. And I need to give an X, a Y, a width, and a height. So this label has an XY location of 3060. So that's the location there. A width of 40 and a height of 20. When I've done all that, I need to add it to the panel. So this panel dot add the label. Okay, so that's done. Then we'll do the same thing for the text field. This first text box here is my name text. Name text is a JText field. So create a new text field, give it a location, and add it to the panel. Done. Okay, so I'm not going to do mobile for you. You can figure out how to do that for yourself. Let's move on to these radio buttons. I'm not going to do the gender label either. You can do that for yourself. But let's look at these gender buttons. So I've already set up the two variables. They are both JRadio buttons, male and female. So let's create instances of the radio buttons and assign them to our properties, our variables. Okay, these are the labels come with the button, so we don't need to make labels for those. Give them a location, like we did before. Add them to the panel. Now what you'll see is, when you test your application, you will be able to check both of those radio buttons at the same time. We don't want to be able to do that. We only want one to be checked at any time. So to solve that problem, you can create a button group. Create the button group and add the two radio buttons to the button group. Okay, now we need to import button group from Swing. So when you do this, it will allow you to only select one member of the group at a time. Okay, very useful. Now let's look at how to set up our combo boxes. Again, I'm not going to show you how to do the label. You should know how to do that DOB label now. In the combo boxes, when I drop down a combo box, I'm going to see the numbers 1 to 31. These are all the days of the month. To do that, one technique is to create an array with all of the values you want to show in the combo box. Then, when you construct your combo box, so mine is called day, let's just double check that's correct. Yep, I've got 3 combo boxes. One is called day, one is called month, and one is called year. This is the day, this is the month, and this is the year. So when I construct my day combo box, I give it the list of days, set the location, and then add the combo box to the panel. Okay, now let's see what this looks like at the moment. Yay, okay. Okay, so it's a little bit primitive, but see if you can figure out now how to set up this scenario where we've got labels, text boxes, an option radio button group, 3 combo boxes, a checkbox, and a button. I'll leave it with you.